Hey everyone, quick little video here doing a first look and impressions on the brand new game mode, the Kuva Survival. This is something we've been asking for a really long time, an endless game mode to be able to get Kuva. Well, it's finally here, so what do you have to do? Well, it's really easy to be honest. There's no searching for siphons, none of that stuff. What you do instead is that during the mission, enemies will spawn with a red marker. When you kill these, they will drop these containers called Kuva catalysts. They look kind of like the power cores for excavators. Like those power cores though, you pick them up, they're restricted to your secondary weapon, just like the power cores are. These containers will convert your air support towers into Kuva harvesters, simply by moving next to it with one of the catalysts. Once you've done this, you then have to defend the harvester for the next 60 seconds, with it having 4,000 health each. This means at lower levels it's going to be fairly forgiving, but at higher levels it's going to die rather quickly, so you really need to prepare for that. Each time you defend a harvester, 200 Kuva will drop on the floor, and that allows for the resource booster as well as Smeeta Kavats to affect the pickup amount. And that's the basic premise of the entire mission really. Naturally, doing this effectively is going to require a reasonably coordinated squad, especially if you want to go for a decent amount of time. We did 40 minutes, but we could have done quite a bit longer, to be honest. The key here is knowing when you need your life support and when you can sacrifice it for the Kuva. If you're coordinated, bringing a Necros or two is pretty much a must. If your squad's killing efficiently, the Necros and his Desecrate will keep you pretty much topped off on air pretty easily. The run in the footage, we went nearly 45 minutes before extracting, and the Necros allowed us to use every single life support for Kuva, and that was just with one single Necros. If you're going to make a really long run out of it, Frost might be nice to help defend the extractors, but our squad was killing so efficiently that we only lost one that we didn't even realise got converted. All the ones we directly defended we kept alive, so it wasn't required to have a Frost, which is nice. It wasn't like required, it's not a must have, but it is an option if you want it, of course. Other than that, there's nothing really that particularly crazy or difficult about this game mode, but I guess the question is, what do I think of it, and is it a viable alternative to the standard way of getting Kuva? Well, let's be honest, it's one of the best looking tile sets in the game. I absolutely love the thing. Okay, you get lost pretty often, but it does look incredible. And in that 40-minute run, I got 5,600 Kuva with my Smeeta Kavat buffing me a couple of times. This means that it's not quite on the same level as the other way of getting Kuva, especially when you throw the Flood into the mix. And that 5,600 is without a resource booster as well. So that's what? 11,200. I think one of my squad mates also got like 12,000 something or other because of the Smeeta things. However, it's definitely a lot of fun. In fact, I find it more fun than a regular survival. For me, I don't like survival that much. I don't like endlessly killing with no real objective involved. The Kuva survival feels like a survival mixed with a mobile defense, and quite frankly, I love that. I love that breaking up of gameplay with the little defense targets. It adds that little extra thing to the mission. What would I change though? Well, honestly, I would do something I've seen quite a few people suggesting, that is sort of scaling rewards based on time in the mission. Scaling up from 200 to 300 about 30 minutes, and then maybe 400 at an hour. This then rewards proper team composition and gives those wanting extra challenge and wanting a true endless mode to push themselves something, it gives them something to aim towards. Rivens and Riven rollings are supposed to be true endgame anyway, and scaling reward based on time in mission is a way to reward those types of players that want to push the limits of the game, that want to get those really good Riven rolls and then push their weapons really to the limit. Obviously, capping it per tower is something that needs to be done to stop it being way too out of control, but it would be a nice nod to the min-maxes of the game. It's pretty much, honestly, just the Kuva number that needs tweaking in the actual game mode rather than the game mode itself. The rest of it is pretty much perfect. However, I have a bit of a personal problem with something though, and that is from a colorblind perspective. It's not something I talk about too often. I talk about it in my Discord, but not too often in videos. But the dark red marker when it's in the Kuva Harvester mode is almost impossible for me to see. The amount of visual stuff going on not only on the minimap, but throughout the game too, that red marker just blends in all of the time, and I often struggle to find the Harvester to defend it. I am red-green colorblind. It is by far the most common of the colorblind deficiencies, and just red. I really wish we would get less markers like this that are colour dependent, especially those that are red. It's sad. It's sadly a bit of a recurring thing that we keep getting with coloured markers that are just not good for those that struggle with colour blindness. I know it's not something that affects everyone, but it's 1 in 12 males that are affected by it. Females are affected by it too, of course, but it's way, way less common. You know, by far the most common of those colourblind deficiencies, as I said, is red-green, and we have continuous red markers introduced. I have to rely on putting the catalyst in myself to know where the harvester is easily, because I knew where it was to start with. If someone else starts it, I have next to no chance of figuring out where it is. Why not change the bright yellow air support marker to the same colour, but have it as a shield marker instead, to show that it's one that needs defending? Or use the same colour that's used for the Eidolon lures on the plains. Ideally, it would be best to come up with some way that doesn't rely on colour at all to convey the information. However, this would be a good compromise in the meantime. Because when you struggle to do things like see where the Kuva harvester is, you get frustrated quickly, and eventually you just steer clear of things, which, to be honest, I don't want to, because I enjoyed this. I just know that I'm going to spend my entire time either asking my team to only let me put the catalyst in, or just being frustrated that I can't work out where anything is, and just stopping playing it. I really hope that this gets addressed, because it's an awesome game mode, but personally, I really, really struggled with it. So I hope you enjoyed my first look at the new Kuva survival mission. I would be very interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below, as well as any suggestions to change the way the markers work for this mode. I would be extremely interested to hear those. But for now, many thanks for watching. Have fun farming Kuva, and I shall see you in the next video.